Clothes have always told stories. Our indigenous fabrics are more than just functional or aesthetic. They mean something much deeper. As an artist who works primarily in fashion, my job is to convey the emotion and feeling that clothes evoke in both the wearer and the onlooker. It's the very core of fashion illustration. In celebration of 10 years of my studio practice, I began to look back at my earliest sources of inspiration. I'm inspired by fashion, I'm inspired by textiles, especially Adire, which is a cloth originating from the southwest of Nigeria among the Yoruba people. Adire means to tie and to dye, but it has many iterations, and my favorite for many reasons is Adire Eleko. It's a fabric created using a starch-resist process where cassava powder is made into a paste, which is then used to protect the cloth from the subsequent dyeing process. The female artisans would learn intricate motifs and patterns passed down from mother to daughter, with each family having their own unique symbols. The designs traditionally come in 8 by 8 inch squares laid in 4 rows of 7, using repeat patterns and sequences. These patterns would be unique to the maker of the cloth, and painting them was a time-consuming process, but it also ensured that the result was an absolutely beautiful, meaningful piece of art which encapsulated the culture of the day. That could be a proverb, a spiritual principle, or even an important landmark in the city. And I believe it's one of the purest forms of African fashion illustration, and more poignantly, because it was originally conceptualized and created entirely by women. This passing down of the know-how is a form of generational intellectual property and inheritance, which should be revered and valued not only for its continuity, but also because female artists have long been overlooked. Too many times, their contributions to the arts have not been adequately acknowledged or documented. Without pioneers to look up to, how will we encourage more little girls to become artists themselves? Adire is a cloth that exemplifies the power of the role model. It has apprenticeship at its core, because each new generation learned directly and intentionally from the ones before. The very beginnings of my desire to be an artist began by seeing Chief Nike Okundaye living, her art form. She's a living master of the craft of Adire Eleko, which she learned from her grandmother. And as the owner of Nike Art Gallery in Lagos, she would welcome my family when we visited. And as a young girl of maybe 12 years old, I would spend many afternoons just wandering around the floors, taking in the sculptures and paintings and yards of indigo, beautiful indigo fabrics, which is the signature color for Adire. I saw a female artist succeed and use her talent in a beautiful way, and the seeds of possibility in my mind were sown. She's still, to this day championing younger artists and has, taught some of the world's best Adire artists.
Adire is what they call Adire. Mo jogún Adire lọ́wọ́ àwọn òbí mi. My great grandmother, I inherit it from my family. I'm a 5th generation Adire maker in my own family. My name is Dr. Nike Okundaye. I'm an Adire maker and also textile weaver. So this Adire, among the Yorubas, they use Adire as a proverb, and it's a color of love. And each one of the symbols on Adire have a meaning. For example, we have water design. Water have no enemy. But what they call Adire is, when you do it with paste, that is Adire Eleko. When you do it with needle and raffia, is called Adire Eleko. When you do it with rope and turn it to a hat, it's called Alakete. When you now do it with stencil, it's called Adire Onipatan. So Adire is a joint work for both men and women in Nigeria. The men will cut the stencil, the woman will do the Adire, then the tailor will show it together. It's a joint work. So it's not one work that one person can do. And it's our heritage. There is Adire Alabella, the one I'm wearing now is called Adire Alabella. Then all these Adire again, they have name. We have Orimipe, my head is correct. Yíyọ ló ń yọ kò fóòrùn, aṣẹ́wó tó lọ Mẹ́kà yọ Tọ̀míláwà, Olú Òkun Ìbàdàn dùn. So all these Adire onínà iná straight, ìtayà, then ẹyẹ ń jọkà, the birds are eating the guinea corn. That is the finger that feed, never lack. Then we have the cycle of life. When a child is born, a child grows, a child becomes an adult. The same child you look after is the one coming back to look after you. That is part of the symbol of Adire. We have the comb. When you comb your hair, joy, you get joy. So they said the road is open, the joy is accepted. Then we have Adire called mirror. Mirror, somebody like a mirror in your life. Your wife, your children, you know when they are having their tea. Then we have Adire Ewege when the queen come to Nigeria in 1946. So they make this Adire and they use it to welcome the king and the queen from UK. So Adire is not just ordinary. Adire is a symbol of communication and it's our heritage. When I was growing up, the way they pass knowledge of education to kids in those days, you teach your child what you are doing. Then I lost my mother when I was 6, my grandmother when I was 7. My great-grandmother is the head of the Adire maker in our village. And that is how they were passing the knowledge to me. And when I finished primary 6, I don't have money to go to secondary school. Then I said, let me focus on what I know how to do. And since then, I have been doing Adire. And I opened my first workshop in 1967. I have 4 training centers in Nigeria. So when you are not close, you will not know this is all the symbol of Adire. This is the road is open and the crossroad. The road you cross before you get up there is always up and down. Nobody have it smoothly. But the end of the road is good. This is cassava leaf. This one is cassava leaf. And the one around is called defense. Your inner spirit can always defend you from any evil spirit.
Eléyìí tí mo fi sínú ẹ̀yìn òun là ń pè ní Adire Eleko. So first stage ẹ̀ lélẹ̀ tí mo ṣe yìí. Èyí tí mo yọ sórí ẹ̀ tó wà nínú lórí páànì yìí òun lálábẹ́rẹ́. A máa ń pè lóní machine. So a máa ń pè lálábẹ́rẹ́. A dẹ̀ ní design oríṣiríṣi nínú ẹ̀. A ní ọlọ́parun, a ní ludo, a ní bush and tack, a ní chain ọlọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀, a ní ẹ̀gbàláwà. So ó ní different design. But Adire Eleko tí mo yọ sókè yìí náà, ó ní record, ó ní comb, ó ní gbàsẹ̀, ó ní yari, ó ní lọ́wọ́ òdì. So ó ní design like bí 100. But one color ni Adire ní, indigo dye ni, kò kìí ṣe tie and dye. Aró àbáláyé tó kọ́kọ́ wà gbàrà kó tó di pé Kampala wà rárá. Kampala yẹn ni tie and dye. Adire yìí ni first aró tó kọ́kọ́ wà gbàrà. So òun la máa ń ṣe nínú ìkòkò. Tó bá yẹ pé àtijọ́ ni tí kòkò ṣì wà rẹpẹtẹ gbogbo bíbà yìí, ìgbà tó dé pé àwọn kòkò yẹn ń fọ́ là ń lo drum. So a máa wá plaster nu drum yẹn kó tó di pé ó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní di pé à ń lò. Bí mo ṣe wá ń rẹ́ yìí, tí máa ṣe báyìí rí pé mo ti yọ sókè lẹ́ẹ̀kan, second one lélẹ̀. Màá yọ bẹ̀bí 3 times kí n tó lọ sá. So tí máa ti lọ sá, tó bá tún ti gbẹ, màá tún ka again, màá tún rẹ́. Tí ẹ náà bá tún ti gbẹ, màá tún ka again until tó máa fi dúdú. So a máa rẹ́ like 5-6 times kó tó dúdú. So tó bá ti dúdú tó ti tó, a ṣe máa lọ soak ẹ̀ sínú omi. a máa fi ọ̀bẹ a máa fi họ ẹ̀kọ́ tó fi ṣe design yẹn sí yẹn a máa fi họ kúrò lójú ẹ̀ tó máa fún wa ní design tí a ṣe sójú ẹ̀ so ìgbà yẹn ni iṣẹ́ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ parí ní orí ẹ̀. Indigo wa lélẹ̀ tá à ń pè ní gẹ̀lú ẹ̀lú lélẹ̀ eléyìí wọ́n máa ń import ẹ̀lú but ẹ̀lú yẹn wọ́n aráàlú òkè ló máa ń ṣe òun ni eléyìí ní indigo leaf tí ẹ bá ti sí eléyìí a lè lo eléyìí pé a fẹ́ fi rẹṣọ tó ti yé eléyìí gbọ́dọ̀ wà nínú ẹ̀ òun la máa kọ́kọ́ soak sínú omi bóyá bíi 20 pieces so caustic soda yẹn òun lélẹ̀ mo ti bù nínú eléyìí káyì mo yọ aṣọ yẹn sókè a gbọ́dọ̀ bù báyìí tá a bá bù báyìí tí gbogbo etí tí ibi tẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wà yẹn ló bá parẹ́ mọ́ra gbogbo bí tẹ́ fọwọ́ bù yẹn báyìí ó parẹ́ nìyẹn so ó gbọ́dọ̀ neat.
so kó tó di pé ìgbésẹ̀ máa kan ilé ìtọ́jú wọ̀nyí lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn ní tó máa kọ́ ṣe gbàrà rèé ǹjẹ́ àdìrẹ ẹ̀kọ́ tí wọ́n ń pè yẹn ṣé ẹ̀kọ́ ni àfi lọ́ fi ń ṣe ni èlùbọ́ láfútà ń jẹ òun la máa ń sè tó bá jiná tán òun la máa pò papọ̀ a máa pò papọ̀ pẹ̀lú omi débi pé a máa fẹ́ bá a ṣe fẹ́ sí kó rí la máa ṣe a bá fẹ́ kó rí bí a kó lé ni o bí a kó rọ̀ jù báyìí lọ ni o wọn tá a bá fẹ́ la máa ṣe sí ilé ìtẹ́jú tí mo fi kípẹ́ẹ̀tì ṣe yìí kò kí ń ṣe design tó ti wà lẹ́ẹ̀ pé bóyá bá but èèyàn kan náà ló mú wá tó sọ pé nǹkan tó bí bóun ṣe fẹ́ kí nǹkan yẹn kó rí ni púpọ̀ wọn kan wá pé nǹkan tó ń fẹ́ nìyẹn kò kí ń ṣe pé kò dẹ̀ kí ń ṣe pé nǹkan tá a ní bọ̀tọ́ láì pé òun ló mú kinní yẹn wá tàbí ṣe tó dẹ̀ di pé àwọn èèyàn ń lò àwa fi orúkọ tiẹ̀ àwa fi sọ orúkọ pátá yẹn kò dẹ̀ sẹ́yìn pé tí àwọn ìbálẹ̀ dé nísìn wàá gbọ́ ewé àjàrà ẹnìyẹn ló ń jẹ́ àjàrà bọ̀ tó wá jẹ́ pé nǹkan design lọ́fẹ́ á ní ewé àjàrà láfẹ́.
Globalization has had its effect on the traditional processes of creating adire. The introduction of synthetic dyes and the use of stencils to speed up what is usually a painstaking process, it threatens the continuation of the semiotic approach to creating relevant and contemporary symbols which evolve and change in step with culture. So that when we look at the cloth, it means something to us. It's not just visual for the sake of beauty, but it actually has an embedded meaning. And I think little by little we're starting to see that erode and be lost. So with this exhibition, my aim was to immerse myself in the process of not only recreating some of these symbols line by line, but also innovating and creating some, for the first time, entirely in digital paint. Adire Eleko patterns require a very steady hand, and doing them digitally is no different. My goal is to create a permanent compendium where these symbols can live in our digital first world, but yet celebrate the women to whom we owe this beautiful art form. They are hidden figures in the sense that many of them, a market full of them, were visible to us, but the commonality of their art could almost cause them to be trivialized. But through every paint stroke and every mark that I've made, I join them as the starchy pattern cloths that they dipped in clay pots of indigo dye also did, to resist any attempt at erasure. This is a glorious celebration of female artistry, which inspires us all. And long may it continue to. My name is Yéga, and I present to you Afrosymbology.